Get out of your own way because you are your own obstacle.
What's up, everyone? We are live recording on the Managing Partners podcast. Today, I have a really cool guest who I got to meet in Chicago. Was connected through Luis Scott, who's been on this podcast before a few times, actually. If you don't know Luis, he runs an 8-figure firm. And Val Torres is on the show today. And she really runs everything over there, I think. So she's a right hand over there. She does awesome stuff for law firms. And so she's here today to share her background. And we're going to learn some cool stuff today. So, Val, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I've been excited to get you on the show. Real quick, I do want to shout out to our friends at Answering Legal. We've been using their phone service, and they do awesome stuff in the legal community, answering phones. Val is huge about intake and things like that. So if your phones aren't being answered and you don't have a good process for that, think about Answering Legal. We do have a free trial with them, so 400 minutes for free. If you go to answeringlegal.com/array, and you can get that deal. Tell them I sent you. So, Val, tell us your story. And you're in Atlanta, right?
Yeah, I'm in Atlanta currently.
Getting any snow today?
We did get snow. It started. It's interesting. I actually have a morning routine, and around like 5 is when I wake up. 6 a.m. is yoga, and it was just fine. Nothing looked crazy. And as soon as I got out of there, it was pouring down snow. No cars, nothing opened. Literally got to Starbucks, and they were like, "That's it. We're closing. You get your coffee. You get out."
Welcome to the
And so
South.
like that's how it started. It's supposed to clear up. It's starting to, but I think a lot of people just aren't out on the streets just yet.
Yeah, we're supposed to be getting it here soon. So I'm in Virginia, just a little north. You'd think we would have it before you. So anyway, so stay safe there in Atlanta. Tell us your story, tell us your background, and introduce yourself. And I'm excited to kind of get into the conversation today.
Yeah. So, a little bit about me. I was born and raised in Colombia, South America. I speak both Spanish and English. A lot of people sometimes wonder why I don't have an accent. I came to the States when I was 8, and basically the journey and trajectory was all of the schooling possible. Still currently in school. I'll get to that in a second, but I've done it all the schooling, all the sportings. I got myself into, well, started the legal industry when I was 19 years old. I started doing case management and then became a paralegal and then an office manager and kind of went through the whole works. My heart stays with workers' comp. That's where I started. And that's what I learned from two great attorneys that were very influential in my legal career. A little bit of background as to why even legal. My grandmother was a prosecutor in Colombia. So the legal industry has been in the family. Her specifically was, I mean, think about it, she's 85. So in the 40s, being a female prosecutor, I mean, all the imaginable things that were not a thing, all the limitations that were placed on individuals, especially in Colombia as well. And she beat out the odds and said, you know what? I'm going to do it. It was a big inspiration to have that. So I begin my journey, my career. I end up kind of dipping, dabbing a little bit here, criminal, PI, workers' comp, immigration, just trying to figure out what part of the law did I like doing, whether it was court or not. Eventually, as my career grows, I then start gaining different roles. I eventually became leader and I did training and development. And then ultimately, right now, I am the director of operations of 8-figure firm. I'm also a business consultant, and I just finished my industrial organizational psychologist master's. So I can also do that. But of course, as if you can't tell already, schooling is a huge part. So it never ends. I am currently doing my doctorate for psychology, and is just the dream or the goal there with the career is to bridge the gap between, take away the stigma and bridge the gap between business and therapy. And my niche or my audience is executives like ourselves that either don't believe in it or have been there or just love to be stressed out for no reason and don't want any help. So I'm going to be someone who in the industry wants to pioneer How do you help those people who are high achievers, high performers, but deal a lot with stress they can't tell anyone about, self sabotage, decision making process of risk that is just like almost impossible. So, how to assist them in bringing that down so that they can be even better executives and run very successful businesses.
Well, that is awesome. That's quite quite the school, and she's a little bit smarter than me, people. But yeah, pretty. I mean, awesome story. So you've been surrounded by the law industry for the whole time, pretty much, and you've got experience across different practice areas and different kinds of firms, which makes you super valuable. Across there. And then eight-figure firm. If you guys don't know, again, actually, I got this is Val's grandma had this right here, grit. We got this shirt at one of their conferences back in May in Chicago, and just a great group doing amazing things, growing firms to eight figures and beyond. So check it out, and you'll see Val all over the place. So if you check out their stuff, and happy to connect you. If you're looking for somewhere to go, I'll connect you with Val, and she can help you, whether or not it's her or she can connect you with someone that can. But if you're looking to grow your firm or professionally, this is the place to go for sure. So tell us, I want to kind of learn more about, I see your posts and I see your content, and you talk about limitless and resilience and these things. And obviously you kind of give us a little bit of preview there with your background and your ambitions, and kind of where you want to go. Um, but take me kind of through your focus with a firm owner specifically, just and with what you say limitless, and I just want to learn more about that and give us the goods.
So, first, the limitless concept came about in a very interesting, a very simple story. Growing up, obviously, from the story that you've heard of being 19 in the legal industry and just calling it how it is, especially in the state of Georgia, but all around, very predominantly male, white, and is just an industry where you have to have some tough skin. If you're going to get somewhere, if you're going to get something. So I was raised not only as a young adult, but also a legal professional all at once. So, learning to be tough and how to have those conversations and getting what you needed, all of that kind of began the journey of the ambition, the discipline, the drive that it took to get the end result. Because the motto kind of growing up in this world was, what are you going to do? How are you going to strategize? Or how are you going to be two steps ahead so that the results that we are looking for our clients or for ourselves, for our firm, will happen. And so having kind of that in mind, having a quote that my mom said one time when I was graduating was, anything can be taken away from you, but knowledge can't, education can't. So that became my two tools: education, extremely knowledgeable in anything and everything that I could get my hands on. And so the resilience kind of begins at that stage where it's like, no matter what limitation, what label, what people's perception, what box society might put you in, it didn't matter. It was always, how can I be better than the person sitting next to me? And as I went through school and I was working with others and kind of proving my own self and my own building up my character as a young adult and professional, I noticed another thing in life, which was I have a career, not a job. So it was very important for me to understand that it was passion, it was drive, it was going to take hard work. And I always tell people all the time, even my clients right now, I say, nobody will ever outwork me because I will always work however and how much it takes to get to the goal. So something that I teach or that I practice with my clients is, resilience is a choice. You choose every day how much you're going to get up. If you're going to show up good, great, a
Hmm.
little bit bad, elite, it depends on you, but resilience comes from how bad do you really want it? And if you don't want it, somebody else does want it more than you.
Today's episode is brought to you by Answering Legal. Now, I just switched my company, Array Digital, over to Answering Legal, and it's made my life a whole lot easier. If I can't get to the phone, their 24/7 virtual receptionists take the call and take them through a full intake process, so we never miss new business again. Now, Answering Legal has been at this for more than a decade, and they specialize in answering phone calls for law firms like yours. They even have a brand new, easy to use app, and they integrate with all the top legal softwares and platforms. So, for my listeners today, we actually have a special deal of a 400-minute free trial offer of Answering Legal services that you can try out by going to answeringlegal.com/array. You can also call 631 437 4803 and use special code DAISY. That's my last name, DAISEY. So go check them out and let's get back to the show.
So the limitless concept came from a simple question. One day, a stranger asked me and said, "How are you the way that you are? Like, how did you become this way? Like, who?" It's almost like the funny question of like, "Who hurt you?" Nobody hurt me, but between the environment, my family, growing up in the industry, and the great mentors I had growing up, it was almost a non-negotiable to be resilient, to have perseverance, to want it more than anyone else. And so the limitless concept came by simply saying, who am I? I'm someone who has no limitations. Who am I? It's someone who doesn't believe in labels to take away or to provide to me. There was a lot of labels growing up in a very in the where I was raised. I was raised in a very white conservative town, which I love and appreciate because it molded into who I am. But there was, of course, the downside. I was the Spanish kid. I was the female. I was the all these things. But at the end of the day, I decided for myself that none of those labels or none of those restrictions could limit my success. It just meant that I needed to be strategic. I needed to sit at the right tables, make myself a spot in a table that I didn't belong in, and just saying no enough or I want more. That's what Limitless came from. So as I began my career as a consultant, part of the practice of what I do and my psychology aspect of it is taking away the limitation that the mind can build or that you allow to build, removing it and doing some cognitive reframing, which is basically saying anything that your brain normally autopilots to that it's bad, saying, is it bad or is it the perception of what's going on right now? Am I thinking emotionally or logically? And how do I get to a point where no barrier, no limitation, no gap actually dictates my reality?
I love it. That is awesome stuff. Yeah, I mean, limiting beliefs, right? We all have them, and different categories of different beliefs, right? And so, yeah, if you're running a law firm or a business, whatever, and you think, I'll never hit $1 million in revenue. Well, you're not going to probably, and just that's a basic concept, but versus like $100 million, you start opening up your mind. But if your brain is trained to think this is my limit and this is what all I can do, you're going to make decisions that are going to keep you there.
Yeah. And there's something to that I also teach my law firm owners. It doesn't matter what revenue you're at or what you've done before. A lot of people get caught up in, I just didn't start early enough, or I don't know if I can do that. I only know how to be an attorney. I don't know how to be a business owner. All of those thoughts, I know it sounds easier said than done because you're almost like, well, I've been programmed for 40 plus years like this. So, like, how else would you want me to think? And I think the biggest shift is being so self aware that you are naturally going to become your own obstacle. Not because you want to, but because either society or because the fear of the unknown takes over. And so, something to practice is looking at removing one tiny word out of your vocabulary, which most people would be like, that can't be it. That can't be the magic pill. If you remove the why out of any and most things, your defense mechanism automatically goes down. So when someone asks me something or I'm asking something, if I ask how, what, when, where, all that leads me to is curiosity and more solution based thinking than a defensive justification or defensive mechanism of why am I doing this? Why am I a business owner? Why do I need to get to 1 million? Why do I need to have more money? Why do I need to hire more people? Instead of when will I hire more people? How will I make sure this business is profitable for me? How do I understand something that I don't know so that I don't feel uncomfortable not knowing everything that I wish I would know. Because as we know, and I shout you guys out and I also tell you things transparently, my lawyers, your ego is as big as it can be in life, and that's okay. I think it helps you be a great lawyer. But at the same time, your ego definitely plays a factor into some of your failures and some of your obstacles and some of your limitations because you think I am who I am and I'm just not going to change the ways that I am.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. Yeah, I meet lawyers all the time, solos that are just, it's their way of the highway. They kind of run things, but they're not growing, they're not expanding, they're not hiring people, they're not delegating, but they're running the show, if you will, the small show.
I tell clients very all the time. Some people ask like, "Who are your best clients? What happens?" And there isn't a dedicated client. The best type of client or business owner simply has to have three things: being open to new ways, which is the hardest one, being able to sit back and think a little more without being impulsive, and removing expectations and building standards. The more expectations you build, whether upon yourself or others, the quicker it is that you'll lead to failure. The more standards you build, they become your non negotiables and the boundaries that you're not willing to cross or the risk that you are willing to take based upon who you are.
I love that a lot. Because yeah, I know in my business and marketing, right? Just expectations are always, they're always bigger than they need to be, or they're out of whack. So, but yeah, that's a good point. Like, what are you not willing to negotiate on? What are your standards? What are the things that you expect versus these wild expectations that you hope for? Even if they tell you that's not going to maybe happen, you set those expectations for yourself. Then I tell this my team all the time. You tell a client X, mention it one time, they catalog that and keep it in the back of their mind. You told me this, blah 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 blah. And even though that might not been the agreement or whatever, they hold on to those things. So they want. It's almost like I know when we bring on a client, I always tell my team like they are looking for us to screw up because they're waiting for it. Because in the marketing industry, they expect it to happen, and they're just waiting to say, "I knew it. I shouldn't have done this."
Do it. I
So we
know.
have to really you know, go deep and address those things because that's what they're looking for, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's actually this great book I tell people about. It's called The Four Agreements by Miguel Ruiz.
Oh, never heard of that one.
And that one's a really great short little book. It's awesome. It gives you some good little principles and things to follow. But one of the favorite things, which to connect to what you were saying with clients in their accounts, one of the four agreements is to be careful and very intentional with your words. And so it's not to tiptoe, it's not to manipulate the wording, it's to almost learn that your words matter so much that people will take you literally directly for what you say. So whenever you say something, make sure you're prepared to follow through or to do whatever it is. Because I think a big issue, no matter what industry, is the fact that when we talk or send a mess or get provide a message, we're thinking about what we understand and how we want to throw the message. We don't think about the person receiving the message and how they need to receive it. So the miscommunication becomes a bigger bridge in between just simply because I am talking to you as I need to be talked to. I'm not talking to you the way you need to be talked to.
Absolutely. And so I was going to ask you now, I guess, your thoughts on, personality, like Myers Briggs, or is there a certain kind of system that you prescribe to? But knowing that this person doesn't like to be talked to this way and receive information this way, if you knew that across your team, how helpful that would be to you to say, "Oh, I'm talking to Val. Let me adjust what I'm going to say to her. Maybe I need to be quick and to the point, or maybe I need to have data and information and overwhelm most people, but she might want that." So, is there a system out there that you kind of prescribe to?
Yeah. So I am a certified Colby consultant, and that is the one that I've kind of gained more ground with. all assessments are great. They are meant to be utilized specifically for what you're looking for. There's not a single assessment, like there's not a single thing in life that's just the one magic pill. It depends on what you're trying to accomplish. So there's print, there's disc, there's Colby, there's Briggs, all kinds of things. The idea is that you figure out what is it that I'm trying to measure in my team, or what am I trying to gather from this data. I'm very data driven, research based, but also with these personality assessments, the idea is that you use them either internally with your team to match up better, to communicate better, to understand the strengths of certain individuals, or to simply, a lot of people use them when they're pre-hiring because they want to bring in the right person for the right role. So specifically speaking on Colby, it pulls from your instinct to problem solve. And so a lot of the times what I utilize that in is to, I'll give you an example. My score is an 8, 6, 3, 4. So for those of you that don't know what that means, don't worry. The numbers, all that means is I'm a very much fact finder. So the way that I communicate is I need a lot of information and I provide a lot of information. The other categories mean different things, but what that helps does, and I've done in one of our biggest firms, we actually assessed over 112 people at this firm. And what we did with this assessment was actually pair up attorneys and legal assistants and paralegals that would work best to have better production. Because what happens is, in a very simple format, let's say we're a team together and you're the attorney and I'm the paralegal. If you are someone who needs very little detail to make decisions, and I'm someone who needs a lot, we're always going to have tension at the fact of, why does Kevin not give me what the hell I need? And so, and a lot of people don't think twice about it. They're like, oh, you're a paralegal, put in the seat, just like get it together. Y'all figure it out. It's just personality. Get over yourself. The tools that are out there to be utilized aren't just because they're pretty and fun to take an assessment. They're meant to be used for efficiency, productivity, the right roles, the right strengths. So if I was to give advice to any member who has never done assessments, I would say definitely figure out, how can I take care of my people because they're my biggest asset? And how can I make sure that that biggest asset functions and benefits me in the long term for the business? Which means if I know how to communicate with my team, if I know what the inclination is of that, I'll give you an example in our personal team. I have a great type A player that is in my marketing, and he is a super, what we call a quick start. He is all about ideas, all kinds of things going through his head all the time. We will clash 20 more million times. We love each other to death and we respect each other, but
Brandon.
yes, it is. It's Brandon. Um, he does not, with the way he thinks and problem solves is A to Z. He wants to see the end goal. For me, an operational brain, I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's how we're going to get there to make sure everything goes aligned. So once we figure this out, we both took the assessment, we both talked about it. Now our relationship has become 10 times faster and easier because I do not provide or give him projects where he has to build or tell me step by step. I just tell him, I don't care how you get there. Here's the end result, get there. And he flies and excels and creates beautiful things that we need, but I don't get frustrated and he doesn't get frustrated. When before we started, it was, why are you this way and why are you this way? Because nobody understood each other.
No, and I'm like him. And you're like my business partner. So I'm a vision person. Like, let's roll, let's go. No plan. We'll figure it out along the way. And my business partner hates that. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's the people part. Like, there's a book above me here, Traction, which is a great book. I mention often, but just the people part of your business, for one, the most important, and I think the hardest for people to figure out. And especially if you're a type A lawyer, you're going to struggle with that for sure. Especially if you don't look outside and get help and understand or do these assessments. And it's just, it's going to be difficult for you. And people struggle with that the most. I think that's why a lot of businesses scale back or they pull back. Like, they're like, I can't figure this out. This person left and this person didn't work out. And then they get frustrated and it's expensive to hire someone and then have to fire someone, and it's not fun. So, but you have to figure this piece out, and it's got to be a priority.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is sometimes I think that's also something great that you mentioned. The business owner is not intended to do everything. I had just posted this morning for our platforms and I said, you need to dedicate time to work on the business, not in the business in order to move it forward. Working on the business is things like understanding what people can drive you there. If you are a great leader, and it takes development, it takes a lot of training, it takes a lot of self effort and decisions to get there. Um, you will understand that delegation, that teaching others to do things, that the people are going to get you there a lot faster and a lot better because they are specialists in that skill set rather than you trying to control and micromanage and figure everything out yourself. So when I hear my law firm owners and or people that are trying to come on board, and they say, well, there's just all these people problems. And I teach this tactic that I would love for anybody that, I mean, anybody can use it. I call it the 131. You have to clearly define the problem. And this is the harder part for my executives because they will start with a problem and then they kind of circle and they go into like three other problems. And I'm like, nope, go back. What is the real problem? Because you just gave me three other problems we have to address, but give me one clear problem. So step one is one clear problem, gives you three easy or ways to find solutions. The reason the brain needs three solutions is because one's mine, one's yours, one's in the middle ground. If I only give you one, if we're trying to decide something, then you're going to think, well, that's what Val wants and you're manipulating, right? If I only give you two, that means either you win or I win. If there's three opportunities for us to decide, do we compromise, do we modify, do I go your route, do I go my route? But either way, it creates solutions for that problem. And then the last thing is that call to action. Now, what the hell do I do? Because it can't just stay being a problem. So once you are able to go through that exercise in many ways, you get to be more solution oriented and you allow the people to have an opinion about the problem, but really define it for themselves. I think one of the biggest pain points for law firm owners is I call them the Google of the business. Everybody is going to ask you a question and you're ready to like, I got it. I know it. I'll answer it. Stop being the Google for everyone. You have to let people think for themselves. And if you hire the right people, whether you need help hiring, that's a different issue. But if you're hiring the right people, one thing I tell my business owners is I hire people to tell me what to do. I do not hire people to tell them what to do. I need new eyes. I need new experience. I need people to come in and do something different for the business. I cannot do everything for the business if I want to scale the business.
100%. That's awesome. I like the 131 rule. So you can always rewind and listen to that again. That I like that a lot. Never heard of that before. Yeah, 100%. Hire great people and get out of their way. You
Yes.
know, obviously you want to have processes and maybe some KPIs and things like that. But other than that, let them do their thing. Let get out of their way. Let them do what they need to do, and stop trying to do everything. That ain't gonna help you. That's for sure. Um, no, that's awesome. So what was the name of the assessment tool that you use? You
So
said you're
it's Colby. Colby is the assessment itself, Kolbe. There's different types, but I mean, I'm sure we'll put information out, but if anybody needs it or if anybody wants to take it, I'm a certified consultant, so I can explain it to teams. I can perform the assessment and be able to assist you in any setting. I use it to promote leaders, to hire, to combine the right type of individuals together to create more productivity and efficiency. And it works across any industry, any practice area. People, people are predictable. You just have to learn what behavior drives what actions.
I love it, and I'll throw a tip out there, which most people probably know this book, but if you don't, buy back your time or taking a time assessment of yourself as a business owner or leader. What are you doing? What should you not be doing? What drives you? What's a $10 task versus a $500 task? And assess your day, your time. You'd be surprised how much stuff you should not be doing that your team can take over for you. Gives them more opportunity as well. Well, Val, I love everything you shared. Obviously, again, the people part of things, psychology, it's a very tough thing to figure out, and I think people need to get help with it and understand it. To just try to figure it out yourself, it's going to be challenging. So, bringing experts like Val, a figure firm, really can help you out and help you get there so much faster. Masterminds and groups, stuff like that, have been huge success for my businesses. I think we're over 50 some people, and I don't manage barely any of them.
Means you're a great leader.
Take it from me. About any extra tip that you'd like to share before we wrap up out there, a law firm owner listening specifically, anything you'd like to leave them with?
Yes, I'm going to tell it to you like I say it all the time of complete transparency. Get out of your own way because you are your own obstacle. The reason you haven't passed a revenue mark, it's you. The reason your people are leaving, it's you. The reason that your marketing isn't working, it's you because you're not letting experts be experts around you. You have to be the expert you are, which is in the law and becoming a business owner. The biggest thing you can do is find the right people to be part of your team. I know a lot of you guys like sports, or maybe you don't, but I'll give you this analogy. If you are looking to have the best sports team, football, basketball, whatever it is, you don't have one of the same player. You don't look in the same areas when you're recruiting these people, and you let the experts be the experts so that your team can get to the championship. So if you're going to get your law firm to the next level, stop doing the same things you've been doing for the past 3, 4, 5 years. How do you level up is by putting more energy, putting more commitment, putting the right people in place, getting the right help, whether it's a consultant, an industrial psychologist, a coach, whatever it is. There's no wrong or right. It's do something different if you're ready to level up, and ask yourself the question, how do I get myself out of the way if I really want to have my dreams become a reality? Otherwise, dreams are just empty words on a piece of paper.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, nothing's better than having a team, the team members having mental ownership, believing in what you're trying to accomplish, see that there's opportunity for them to grow and flourish. They will do what is necessary to protect you, your culture, build it, and do things. But you have to let them do their thing, or they're not going to stick around. Awesome. Well, Val, I appreciate you coming to share. It's been awesome getting to know you and seeing you guys work. So again, if you want to connect with Val, reach out to me. I can definitely connect you. Val, what's the best way otherwise for someone to reach out or connect with you online?
Two easiest way is LinkedIn, my name. How you see it on the screen, exactly that. It's that one. You'll see my face. It'll be fine. Otherwise, Instagram. It's where you'll see a lot of posting and a lot of the limitless concept. It's my name, Valeria Torres dot V as in Valerie and T as in Torres. And you can kind of see the content, the everyday life. We didn't mention it, but you will see. You're probably gonna wonder when you get there, why is there so much travel? I'm a travel fanatic, both for work and pleasure. So you'll see me running all over the world, but you'll always see me working, traveling, and staying limitless.
Love it. I love the limitless concept. Yeah, well, I'll be in Denver the same time you will be in a couple weeks. There for different reasons, but traveling is uh, is great. Got to get out there and travel to the world. And if you have a good firm running for you, you can get away and travel and take some time off.
That's the goal. That's the goal. Make sure you get to that goal.
That's the goal. Luis, I mean, he works what, Tuesday through Thursday?
Yep. So all of us have a designated schedule that we built in to make sure that we're able to service clients, but also operate the business, create content, and travel because we travel to site visits. So we have a lot of people that buy VIP visits, people who want us to be in their firm for 2 days, get in, get out, show me what you got, give me the magic. And that requires travel. So we specifically created our schedules for all consultants Tuesday to Thursday. The rest is history.
Love that. So, everyone, check them out. You got to do it. Connect with Val 100%. Check out 8 Figure Firm. And appreciate you having come on the show. And we
Thank
will see you soon, everyone. Get out there, be limitless, and get out of your way.
you.
We'll see you soon on the next episode.